Coming up, are you letting your mindset and your ego play a part in your success? Well, I have a great conversation with my friend Paul Lam about this very topic and how he overcame his ego to break through and do what he needs to do to find success. Stay tuned. What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com. And in this new year, I want to create more video content like the one you are about to see. And it's more deeper conversations with entrepreneurs talking about some of the things that hold us back. And so not just about the how-tos and the do X, Y, and Z, but more of the mindset shifts, the deeper conversations that we have as entrepreneurs when the camera is not always on. And I loved this conversation with my friend Paul Lam at pathhunters.com. pathhunters.com. Check him out there. He's got a great podcast episode that I've been a part of that I'll link up into the YouTube description. We talk a lot about ego, how do we overcame that ego, how we both had to find different jobs during our early entrepreneurial journey to help us supplement some of the things that we are working on. And I talk about a big project that I've been wanting to work on for so long and what's really holding me back. And Paul helps me overcome some of the issues that I've been having. So if you like these type of conversations, I hope you'll leave a comment below because we are starting a brand new YouTube channel where it'll have more of these type of conversations along with some of my kids. So it's gonna be business, family, all there. Go check out the new YouTube channel that's going to be launching very soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to make a big announcement pretty soon, but enjoy this conversation I had with my friend, Paul Lam. My friend, Paul, what's been happening, man?
Not much, man. It's an honor to be back on here again, man. And it's just been like transformative for me recently. And we talked a little bit off record. Just happy to be here, man. Just happy to catch up with you too as well.
You know, your most recent podcast episode, and this is one of the reasons why I reached out to you, was talking about ego and letting go of your ego, and you talking about picking up a part-time job as you're still pursuing your entrepreneurial career and journey. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what made you look for that part-time job?
Yeah, so I have to like reach behind back a little bit. Just a quick gist of that. Basically, like the past couple of years, the past 2 years or so, I was actually working a corporate job, right? And I didn't like it and love it. It was my passion. And it just one day after a breakup, I just took off and went exploring the world. And it was just super like irresponsible about it. But the thing is, like, I would never call it a failure, but more so like a learning experience. So went to go to like Thailand, Chiang Mai. Everybody says like this where all the digital nomads are at. Explored, networked, learned all these systems, all these business models and everything. Came back. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to do this. And oh, sorry, I wasn't even sure if I'm supposed to swear on here or not, but I'm sorry. You can like blur that out. But I came back and I was exploring and I just wanted to do all these businesses and going into everything is because like every entrepreneur that I look up to was like, oh, you need the funnel, you need the email list, you need to do this, you need to do all this and that. Did it all. And then it wasn't what I was looking for. So for the longest time, whenever you hear like the rags to riches story, it's like, oh, I was living on my sister's couch and then one day living off credit cards and then one day it all worked out. And I was doing that. I was living off credit cards, living with my mom and dad. And I was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm refuse to go back. I'll even get a tattoo. There's this little joke that I used to say to everyone that I'm going to have a tattoo on my face so I won't get hired or something really stupid. But don't get a tattoo in your face, by the way. But and then one day I was like, why am I being like this? Why am I like? One day I was just like, if you really want your life to change, let go of this ego. Let go of this. What you entrepreneurs and the great entrepreneurs tell you to do. Get it out of the way. Take action. Do whatever it takes. And I'm like, even if it means to go back to the working world, and even if it goes back to like finding a corporate job or whatever it is, do what it takes. And I wasn't doing that. I was like being arrogant because I was like, I'm above this. I don't want to get another job or anything like that because I'm going to make this entrepreneurial thing work out. So that's where we're at right now. But it took me 2 years to learn all that here in time. It's crazy.
I love that. I love that story because I think there's too much made of just like, hey, I got to pursue this. I got to do it this way. And I know in my first year of running, you know, now it's called App Masters. Back then it was like mobile app chat. But like my first year on my own, I had to go back to my old boss and I said, hey, do you have any work? Like, can I do anything for you? And I was looking on job boards for like part-time copywriting jobs because I wasn't figuring out how to make money. And I guess I fell in the trap the same as you. I'm like, okay, well, I have to do a digital course. I can't trade
Yeah.
hours for dollars, and I have to do this and this and what everybody else was telling you. And I think what I loved about your story is I think that's what it takes. Like, to be successful, you just have to do whatever it takes. You have to just swallow that pride and just keep marching forward. And then there's no like shame. I feel like there's this shame in this entrepreneurial world where if you have to go back to a corporate job, you failed. It's like, no, maybe you're just taking a break, dude. Like, you just figured things out. You learned a ton. You need to go back and apply it, get some income and then go back out and pursue it again. Life is long. Like, you got so many opportunities.
100%. Like that, it's a wonderful word that you used right there just now, shame. Like I felt shameful. Like I felt like shame came up the most when I was going through this. I was like in the dark a couple of weeks ago before the new year, and I was like, why am I being like this? Why am I so arrogant enough to think that, I refuse to go back to the corporate job. Like this is to me, I felt it was shameful to go back. I was like, you know what? Fuck what everybody thinks and just go do it. Do whatever it takes. Cause like, are you willing? We hear these inspirational talks, but really how deep do we listen to it, right? Like there's no shame. Do whatever it takes. It's always like that. Do whatever it takes to go and build that life that you've always wanted.
Right.
Right. And then so I was like, yeah, why don't I do whatever it takes, even if it just means to go back to the corporate job or I sell wine now part time. And I'm like, why not? Like, there's no shame in that. And actually, people admire you more for that pursuit, anyways. Right. So I was like, yeah. So ego tossed aside and feeding the soul. I love that.
What were you thinking about? Like, hey, I'm going to fail if I have to get a job. What were some of those thoughts that were going in your head?
Um, yeah. So it was like the thoughts of like, I felt like a failure a little bit. I was like feeling shameful, but then it was weird because like it was just more of like a man on a mission kind of feeling, right? I was like, okay, you realize that nothing in life is forever. Really, it's not, right? And so this doesn't have to be forever for me, right? As long as I keep in the focus, setting the goals are clear, actionable steps to go build towards that whatever dream you're trying to build, right? And then really sticking to that, right? I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't highlight that a lot. They really, and I feel like there's a reason why they do that because like they are almost ashamed of it as well too, right? Because they don't want to mention that, oh, I was looking for another job, I was working, going back to my boss, like you said, and stuff like that. Like, good job for like admitting and telling everybody that because like I feel like that's not highlighted enough, and I feel like it should be.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I don't know if you felt this way, but I feel like, and I'm glad you kind of talked about it this way, because I feel like when I look at last year and I set my goals, and you talked about this in your episode, like
Yeah.
writing your goals out, you're literally like, what are my goals again? Let me look through the paper and kind of read through it. But I was thinking about last year and out of a whim, I printed out this template and I made my whole family do it, my wife and my kids, and we wrote it all down, like places we wanted to visit, things we wanted to get accomplished in 2018. And I looked at it this year, we did the same template. So like, it's just this random template. And I looked back at it and I wrote it down without looking back at 2018, right? I wrote down my 2019, and 2019 was all more spiritual growth, more personal growth. In 2018, I was like, man, Steve, you're a big fat dummy because you talked about business growth. Like everything, I felt like my personal goals were selfish, meaning it was all about me and coming about business goals and certain things I wanted to get accomplished. And this year I just wrote down, look, I just want to connect with more people. I want to have deeper conversations. I want to have more spiritual growth. And I think, and I say this because in December, like I read a crap load of books about like spiritual growth, like Oprah, like Eckhart Tolle, like all these things.
Yeah.
And I feel like you need that because last year I was intermittent fasting in mid-December and it rode through the whole year. And I'm like, oh, you need that like sort of momentum into the new year. And your mindset in going into the new year is as important as your goals for the new year as well.
Oh, 100%. And like, congrats, by the way, because like I've been following your fitness journey, man.
Thanks,
Like
man.
you're like the fit
Thanks for the
dad
tip.
that's gonna be. It's awesome. I love it. I love the journey. And yeah, like it's crazy because like I agree with you. Like you have to like have like the certain mindset to even understand. going after that kind of mindset, right? Like I did the reverse for you for what you did. Yours was like business focused, and now it was more spiritual growth. Last year, the past couple of years, is more about connecting, learning, and networking, and really focusing on myself and learning that. But I think everybody has to get to that point in time where they do have spiritual growth. So to understand that aside from all ego, you can toss away that ego and go after and be. Now this year for me is all results focused now,
Mm.
because I spent a lot of time meditating. I spent a lot of time understanding like why am I not tapping to like my maximum potential, right? And it's because like a lot of it was because of the ego, right? But that took a certain spiritual journey to get to this point, really. And if you've done that, you're doing that as we speak, and continue to do that, because like I've seen the books that you've read. Dude, you read like crazy. Like I don't know how you read through all these books, and it's insane.
It's
It's
audiobooks all, and it's two speed, so it helps on my runs. But what I want to talk about too was, I think it's important. Like, I don't want to come here and say, look, you need that spiritual mindset and that's how you grow. I think you
yeah.
need to be at a certain point in business and life to feel like, okay, that's my next journey, where I think you have to be selfish in the early days. In the early days, I was like, look, I need to make money. I need to figure this out. I need to get to a point. And I think for me, letting go of the ego was, I felt like I needed to run a business that made like $1 million a year. And for some reason, that was the mark that I needed to reach. And last year, it was more of thinking like, no, I'm happy. Like, this is a great lifestyle business. I'm really helping out app developers, and I don't need to grow a humongous business. Does this business afford me the lifestyle I want to live? Yes. And I think what I learned from last year was, I felt like I needed to do X, Y, and Z before pursuing A, B, C.
Yeah.
And a certain thing needed to happen before another thing happened. And I let go of that, Paul. And for some reason, like, January has like just open doors and certain things that happen. I'm like, holy cow, like, just because I let go of all these things that were holding me down, I'm like, no, I
Yes.
want to pursue this creative pursuits, this new YouTube channel that you're hopefully watching it on.
Yes.
But like, I want to start creating it. Like, I don't need to do this one thing before I do this other thing. I can do it in tandem, and I want to pursue more of those creative pursuits that I have.
Oh, 100%. That's like that was like me and for example, identifying on Instagram and stuff like that, right? Like for me, like I used to like make stories. I used to hate like recording myself walking around. Now I just make funny noises or just make like random edits on Instagram now, because like one day I was like, why do I care what people think? Like I was just like, it's just more of a like it was an ego to a certain point, but I was like, you know what, I shouldn't care about this, and I just should just tap into my creativity, and then talk whatever about like all the things that I want to talk about, and then go and just express myself, whether people hate me or love me. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because it's how I feel and how you're getting your creative juices running, which is I'm excited for you,
Yeah.
because like you're tapping into that, right? Like you're and for you to be happy, you don't need permission. You don't need these things in place to go and do it. You should just do it. Literally, just get up right now and do it.
I don't know how to do this. So maybe you can help me with this, Paul. But I have this idea of always wanting to do more of a game show. So I have certain thoughts, and I tried a couple of different episodes last year where it was a long form interview, kind of like, Mark Maron, where we talked to an entrepreneur and got to know the personal background. And I ended it with a couple of games, and I got like the person's wife to answer some questions, and they had to sort
Yeah,
of
it's
guess. And I
fun.
got David Reichel, who's the creator of Color Switch, and his sister on to kind of, David had to guess. So I don't know what's stopping me, but I really love the style of Jimmy Fallon. And if you think
Yeah,
about what's that car karaoke thing,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you're doing fun things with people you kind of recognize. And I want to do fun things with entrepreneurs. So it's just not like always having these type of conversations, which are great, but always having something fun that we can do it
Yes.
too. I don't know what's stopping me though.
I would say, because like the thing is like whenever we come up with this kind of like new idea, the things that we want to do, we automatically think about like it's so monumental. Like for
Yeah.
me, I've been talking about YouTube channels for the longest time. Okay,
Yeah, you
the
have.
longest time. Like you hold me accountable. Like this is what I love about you, but it's happening. But like the thing is like we have to break it down into like very simple steps. Like be very generous with yourself. So for example, for you, I'm thinking off the top of my head right
Yeah.
now is that let's just say only you want to do like 6 to 12 episodes only, based on whatever Jimmy Fallon kind of way. Make it simple with no expectation whatsoever, and go after it like in that kind of mindset. That's what I did with my Instagram edits, and now people want to pay me to edit their Instagram for their social media. But the thing is, I did it for fun on my phone. I don't do it on my computer, because
Really?
yeah, it's all on my phone through an app called InShot, by the way.
Wow.
And I just play around with it. And it takes me like 5 seconds to like, not five, like 5 minutes to come up with these edits and then just upload it. But at first, I didn't want to add any pressure to myself. I'm not going to go and throw it into my computer. And because to me, like that's a lot of work. I was like, you know what? Let's make this fun. No expectations. Who cares what people think? And just do that and go after it. That's it. Come from that mindset and then set yourself in like a small little actionable step. So like whether it's like 5 episodes or 10 episodes, and then making it to a Jimmy Fallon kind of way. That's season 1. You could just say that's season 1. That's it. And then tweak it on the next season or whatever it is and go from there. Really, it just takes that, because once you go after it and you get into a flow and it gets easier and easier and easier, right, through repetition, like we're working out right now, right? I bet you when you first started intermittent fasting, it was the hardest shit ever. For me, it was like, I was like freaking out. I was like freaking out and I couldn't take it. And now I do it just automatically without any reactions or anything like that now. So that's all it really takes. And I feel like people need to approach it from this kind of angle instead of trying to take a giant bite out of like that elephant, right? It's like how to eat an elephant kind of deal. So that's what I think that how you should approach it, because
I thought about the seasons though, Paul, and it's still
Did
stopping me. Like, I don't know why I still haven't done it. And I
Bring
think
it lower.
I think if I'm being real with myself, it's the ego thing where I'm like, well, I'm going to have these people, or it's not going to be a good edit, or like, I don't even know what kind of games I want to play. And it's just, and I feel like I need to be in person with that like we can't do it virtually. And so I don't know what it is. It's because I was like, okay, just commit to 2 seasons or maybe like 10 episodes. That's it. That's season 1. I still can't do it. And I'm just like, I don't know what's stopping me. And I just need to get over it. Maybe just ask somebody and get it over with.
So the thing is, like, there it is right there. So I think that's where it is, because like you're almost feeling guilty, because like you're hoping that you want to deliver on the funness, but also because like the degree of that person you're bringing in. So instead of doing that, bring in your family, or like someone that you're just like shooting your shit with, like you're like, the thing that the people that you would hang out at the bar or something, like, what I mean, I wouldn't say like A, B, C, or like, but if we're talking about that kind of concept, bring in like the D players. D players or something. Someone where it's okay, like me. I'll gladly jump on the show with you. I'll be like, okay, just like
Thanks,
just hang out, just like kind of like play catch or something like that. But just like, you know what I mean? So the thing is, I feel I know where that's coming from now. So from what I'm hearing, like I said, like you're trying to make sure that they get the value and they deliver on what you want to deliver. But now you're building this giant thing in your head, right? And really, if you don't want to do that, and you don't want to have that, so like just remove that in general and go after like someone that's just like, even on the street. I bet you just go on the street where in your neighborhood or something like that, be like, hey, or your neighbor, be like, hey, I've known you for a couple of years. Did you want to kind of jump onto a video with me just for fun? And you don't know these kind of, everybody has stories, right? But like going with no expectations. Even the editing, don't even beat yourself up over it. Because I'm at the point where like I used to beat myself up all the time over every little thing, and at the end of the day, people don't give a shit about like what it like. No matter what you do for edits or anything like that, it's how you show up consistently. Yeah. That's what I realized. Like and how you continuously tweak that, right? Because like I'm using InShot on my phone for my phone edits, everything, and now I bought this MacBook that I have here that I'm using right now, and I'm gonna do more with it. But the thing is, like, it took momentum. It took to the point where like I'm like, oh, okay, I'm kind of bored using InShot now. I'm kind of bored. I want to make it better now. So it really just takes momentum, because like you're just conditioning yourself over and over and over again. So again, no expectation. That's what I think you should go after that, and have a really deep thought on that, because if you're still thinking that it's that kind of place right now for you, make it as simple as possible. Even if it's just, hey, your wife or your kids or anything whatsoever, right? Just make it as simple and easy as possible, and just get up and do it. And really, that's it.
I like it, man. What's been on your mind lately? What were some of the goals that you mentioned?
Dude, there's a lot. So there's like, I've last year I used to set goals in a way where actionable steps, having a goal like I want to make 6 figures, stuff like that, and it didn't hit that, and that's okay. I got to a point and I was good. And then this year it was more about attacking in that kind of same mindset I was telling you about, make with little expectation as possible. So small goals, and then mid-sized goals, and then large goals. So the smaller goals are easy to tackle, where it's like, for me, it's like meditating 5 minutes every single day. And that to me is a win. And then mid-sized goals is like something where you can commit some time into. So for example, I want to increase my weight. For example, I'm 50 pounds now. I want to be 150, 160, 65 pounds still shredded. So that's the goal. There's still enough time in there, but it's not too difficult and unobtainable. Whereas like the next one is like literally growing an e-commerce business and dealing with like suppliers in China and stuff like that. And so that is a large monumental one, but that takes time and competence, right? So you're going after the little things, but also remembering the larger things in life as well too. So these are things that's been on my mind recently, and also really taking time to be very, very easy on myself. I think everybody gets in their head a lot, and then because of like the entrepreneur world where they're like, oh, you gotta hustle, grind. And then I realized I was like operating on like 4 hours sleep, and then I needed sleep. So I slept 8 or 10 hours one day, and I got up, I'm like, I feel good. So
Yeah.
I've been consistently sleeping for like 7 hours or so, and just working a lot on my health and making sure whatever I do during the day is maximized. So these are the things on my mind recently.
I love that. And one of the questions in that template that we filled out is, what was a big lesson, I love to ask you, that you learned in 2018 or the previous year? And in 2018, I wrote like, what would you regret more? So like going really pursuing after your goals and whatever you've been wanting to do. Like, and I do that with just like simple things. I'm like, would I regret this or this? Oh, if I didn't do this, I would regret that a lot more. And for last year, you said it, man. It was self-forgiveness. It was being easier on yourself so that it's, hey, if you want to watch a movie some random Friday afternoon because you just like, I got a great work, effective week in, I want to go watch this cool movie. I do it now. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm just going to go and go watch a movie and go play pickleball in the middle of the afternoon just for fun too.
See, and I love that. I love that. I love that how you're giving yourself this, because, like I said, like I don't think a lot of people really take the time to do that. Like Elon, I saw a talk with Elon Musk, and he did 22-hour days of working, and he slept at the factory when he was building Tesla. So the thing is, like, he was at the body shop. He was always working on this, and he worked. I was like, oh my God, who does that? You need to take time. You're gonna burn out. And he says that he's like, literally, I was hurting myself. I would never do it again. I would never wish this on anybody. People need to take time to like relax and chill. And I was like, even someone like Elon Musk that says that, I'm like, holy crap, that's a big thing. And so really, it's more about just taking time to do that on top of like working really diligently, and sticking to the goals, but also coming from that mentality of like no expectations, right? Because really, you learn everything through experimenting, right? People are refusing to experiment because they want it to be perfect. They may not never even take the step at all, really. And so I come into the mentality, which one of my regrets was like, I wish I had this mentality earlier on, because like it would just stop, like, it would just help me a lot. Because now I take on, I'm like, okay, what does this editing feel like? What does this mean? What if I bought this course on editing really quickly from like Udemy or whatever it is, and just learn it really quickly? What can I learn? But no expectations, and you really come as a fresh student, right? So I think if you take life on like that kind of way, things will open up for you. Like I said, like you took away that threshold for yourself, X, Y, and Z, and then you just kind of did it, and it just worked out. And now you're saying this year has been like, what the hell is going on? Things are coming together. These things, but I think if you truly come back and take that even to the next level of like no expectation, just go after it, then you're good.
I love that. Paul, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got to meet. Heath, thank you for introducing us. It's like you knew the energy was going to fit well, but I'm so happy to be following your journey on Instagram. So if you guys are listening to this, follow Paul and make sure, what's your YouTube channel? Okay, let's get this going. All right, let's make sure. I'm going to link Paul's YouTube channel into the show notes too, that you guys have to check it out. He's been talking about this for a long time, so this guy has to finally do it. I'm going to do mine too. So we already got everything set up, and I'm going to finally make that commitment. Paul, thank you. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
That's pretty much it, brother. Like, I appreciate nothing but love for you, and like I said, like I'm excited to see how, your fitness journey and everything, and just growing from there. And like I said, like it's an honor to like just be your friend and just then to get to know you, brother. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. One of the commitments I wanted to make was just to meet people in person more, because, this is great, but like there's nothing in person. So we'll have to figure that out soon. But what do I want to say? There's nothing else. Oh, I remembered. I'm gonna ping you. So you're gonna be one of those guys that I'm gonna do a pilot episode of this new concept that I have. So hopefully you guys will be checking out soon. But Paul, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Nothing but love, brother. Have yourself a great one. Take care.